Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today, so we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about an opportunity that Bitcoin has ahead of it. As you probably already know, Bitcoin has gone through a correction over the course of the last couple of days, especially over the weekend. In fact, we've formed what we call a head and shoulders pattern, indicating that lower lows could be coming to Bitcoin soon. But after that correction that we are witnessing ends, is Bitcoin in a very powerful position to go through an uptrend? That's what we're going to be discussing today. I think that the next couple of weeks on Bitcoin are going to be very telling, and I'm very excited to see where they are going to go. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto. If you're new here, my name is Jeb McAfee. We are based out of Gainesville right now, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you guys today on the cryptocurrency markets. Crypto Mini Bike is in chat, said, morning everyone. Mike Lowry is in chat. Queen is in chat. Philly Skills 1428 in chat. Good Monday morning, Jeb and Crypto fam. Good morning to you as well. I'm so excited to be here, guys. This is going to be a great week. Mike Lowry's in chat, said smash the like button. Queen is in chat. Alex Kaimana said good morning. Robert Kehoe said morning, Jeb. Good morning to you as well. Coin Operator said good morning. Damien Cheatham VR said afternoon all. You must be in the east. The Eastern Hemisphere. Queen's in chat saying, I see green. I see trees of green. How does that song go? Red Roses too? Jack is in chat. Ha ha ha. You thought you were going to get me. You know, I've been doing YouTube for 6 years, my friend. I know better. So hi, Jack. We'll just go ahead and say hello to you. Philly Skills 1428 is in chat. Qantas Entertainment said no. Feedox is in chat, said hello from Chile, and Mario De Leon is in chat. Sean O'Brien is here. Ivan Kunanen is in chat, said good morning, Sir Jeb. Right now. I have an announcement to make. I'm very excited about this. This is one of many announcements that I'm going to be making, and I'm going to be bringing this back online as time goes. Let's go ahead and make an announcement here. Very excited about this. This announcement has to do with our Discord server. For any of you guys who have been in the who have been following the channel for quite some time, you will know that we have a Discord server, and that Discord server has been not really used for about 3 years. George is in chat. Shout out to Cryptos R Us. Good to see you, George. Guys, that gives me a reminder. George is in the middle of a launch. I don't actually know for sure if it's public yet, so I'm not going to say it, but go on over to his YouTube channel. George, you can, what we were talking about with Plus, is that live yet? I don't want to announce anything that's not live, but I would love to give you a little bit of a shout out on what you're doing over there. You'll have to go ahead and plug that if that is live. He's got a new project that he's working on. Oh, it is. The first video for CRU Plus is tonight at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join the premiere. It is live. Okay, cool. So I can talk about it. Guys, check this out. George has started a new channel, Cryptos R Us Plus. He's going to have some other content creators over here making videos. Definitely go check this out. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to be helping to build community with a few different hosts that you will probably know, several of them being pretty big on TikTok. So definitely go check out this channel. Boom. Saw me subscribe to it right there. All right, but yes, it is. George said it is live. So make sure to go check out Cryptos R Us Plus. Already got 5,000 subscribers. Shout out to you, George. Good deal. Now, the thing I was announcing is that the Discord server that I launched, goodness, over 5 years ago now, has not been active in a long time. I have not been active in there in a long time. And I think that's an absolute travesty. I think that's horrible because one of the things I love the most about the live stream is getting to talk to you guys. And I love the community aspect of that. And so I'm going to be relaunching that Discord server. It never went down. I just stopped talking about it. It just kind of died. And that's so sad because there's like 2,000 people still in here. And so if you come on over to my screen here, you can see this is the Crypto Jeb Discord right alongside all the other Discords that I'm in. And there are, let me just go here real quick and then we're going to jump straight into the stream. But in the server settings, I think it'll show me. And with the members, there are still over 2,100 members in here. Now, again, this has not been very active in a very long time, but there's still over 2,000 members in here. So we're going to bring this back online. I want to be able to interact with you guys and have a lot of fun with you guys. About a week ago, I said, let the resurrection begin. Wahahaha. And Emery said, it's about dang time. So I agree. I think that is the case. With that, I do have an unfortunate announcement for one individual in chat, and I am so sorry for this. But I am going to be, with that launch, pausing on office hours right now over in the Club DeFi Discord server. And instead, I'm going to be interacting with you guys quite a lot in the Crypto Jeb Discord server. And every once in a while, I'm not going to exactly schedule it yet, but I will be setting up calls at some point in the Discord server over there with the Crypto Jeb Discord. I think that will actually benefit the person who's in chat, who I'm really sorry about that happening to. You know who you are, because I really enjoy speaking with you. But I think that's actually going to make our conversations when they do happen a lot more interesting, because I think there's going to be able to be a lot more people in there, because there's not a ton of people in the Crypto Jeb Discord server. A lot of people don't know about it. Excuse me, the Club DeFi Discord server, because a lot of people don't know about it. So we're going to be pausing on office hours starting today, but we're also launching the Discord server. So I'm going to be putting a invite link for that in the description box here in just a minute, and I would love to see you guys over there. You might already be in there if you've been a long-time fan of the channel, but let's go ahead and keep going here and get started with the stream and talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. As you can see, Bitcoin has been in a correction over the last couple of days, and that correction has led Bitcoin down below a critical level of support around $26,357. That correction happened relatively quickly, but it came more or less out of something that we expected. Bitcoin had been sitting here and consolidating for quite some time, and with that consolidation, Bitcoin had begun to trade sideways, and we had seen quite a lot of technical indicators giving us the idea that we were going to see some kind of, hopefully a bounce, but definitely some kind of correction was in the books. We were seeing convergence on the MACD. We were seeing RSI trending downward. We were seeing volume very, very, very low, extremely low green volume. The bulls were winning, but just. We were seeing spinning tops on the daily chart. And even if we look out here to Lux Algo, you can see that while we were above the trend catcher, when we fell below the trend catcher, that's when we started to understand that something was happening that was bearish. So with Bitcoin dropping down to these levels, that naturally brings to the front of our mind the question: has Bitcoin lost its opportunity to go through a major rally and break above $27,000 and go into a significant uptrend, or has that not been lost, and are we going to see that happening around the corner? In short, are we about to rally, or are we about to crash? And I think that's what we're going to be. I think that is a very compelling question that we're going to analyze today. We're going to start on the daily chart. We're going to kind of drill down into the hourly chart, look down there as well, and then keeping in mind some of the geopolitical and economic realities that we're facing on the global stage, we will come to a conclusion on where we believe Bitcoin may be going over the next 7 to 14 days. Let's start on the daily chart. The very first thing I want to look at is the 20 exponential moving average and Lux Algo. But even before we get to our indicators, history lesson. Bitcoin's gone through a major rally so far this year. It's not been as large of a rally as we typically see moving into a bull market. And what I mean by that is that this rally here in 2019 led us to only about 40% from all-time high. This rally here in 2023 led us to 116% from all-time high. We're nowhere near as close to all-time high at this point in the halving cycle, about a year before the halving. Last time we were here in this part of the halving cycle was in 2019. We're nowhere near as close to all-time high right now as we were back then. And I think the most important reason for that is because there was a lot of manipulation going on starting about, I don't know, here. Everything post-pandemic, post about February 2020, is a completely different technical era. It's a different epoch for Bitcoin. And when we look back on Bitcoin and we start to look at it through a historian's lens, Bitcoin is getting old enough that we can start writing history books about it. When we start looking at this epoch, there is a very clear cutoff at 2020 February. And the reason that happened is because of the lockdowns. When the lockdowns occurred, we saw several things happen. Number one, we saw the workforce go home. Many of them lost their jobs. Some of them went remote work, but they all went home. Secondly, we saw massive shutdowns that led to a 33% GDP drop on the United States' economy within a quarter. If you look at GDP, let me see if I can find a quarterly GDP chart for the United States. I think Bureau of Economic Analysis has something here. Let's see. I don't know if I'll be able to find something quickly, and I want to be respectful of your time, but you can definitely go and look for that on your own. Here we go. Here's something that shows what I'm talking about. Here's the GDP for the United States. You can see it dropped from about quarterly gross domestic product, first quarter of 20. Yes, this is accurate. Okay, so you saw GDP drop here from almost 20 trillion down to, this says 17. That's not accurate. Okay, so over here, see it drops substantially. You see GDP falls off a cliff. And so when we have that occur, we have everyone goes home, we have GDP drop off a cliff, we have unemployment go up, and then we see the printing of the United States dollar through the purchasing of treasuries and mortgage-backed securities by the Federal Reserve, which leads to the balance sheet going up. And we also see the interest rate slammed to the floor at near zero. Those conditions lead to bubble-like territory, and you see the market absolutely explode, and people got rich during this time. We made a lot of money during this time because there was so much money coming into crypto. There's still money in crypto, but there was so much money in crypto, and it reflects in the price. The market was overvalued during this time. People might not like that I say that, but it was overvalued. Bitcoin never would have gone to $70,000 in that epoch if not for the pandemic. I think it probably would have gone to 45 or 55. To 70, I think it probably would have waited until the halving cycle that's coming up now. Now, this is the first part of that epoch. Something changes here about 2 years later in February of 2022. We have three major events occur right here. We have the effective federal funds rate begin to drop. We see the effective federal funds rate begin to hike. We bring up the effective federal funds rate. You can see the effective federal funds rate starts to go up right about there. Another thing occurs, and that is that the United States Central Bank balance sheet, USC BBS, is over here, starts to go down. And at the same time, the war on Ukraine is declared. The special military operation, otherwise known as a genocidal war, is declared on Ukraine by the Russians, and that throws geopolitics into the biggest tailspin that we've seen since probably the post-Cold War era, right when the Berlin Wall collapsed, but to be honest with you, probably even going back to the end of the Second World War. It's a huge deal, that conflict. So, these two epochs obviously lead to two different outcomes. Flush capital, low interest rates, global instability led to a massive rally on Bitcoin because people were afraid of their currency because of the massive amount of inflation that was coming in. We saw the exact opposite occur during this time. Now we're moving into an epoch where things are starting to come back to normal. And it's a little bit more difficult to just draw a time boundary and say, okay, at this point, things change. I think that what we're going to see happen is the effective federal funds rate is going to plateau by the end of the year. I think they will hit the peak of the effective federal funds rate by the end of the year, or at least at the latest in quarter one. It will probably be in the high fives. I think we're going to see at least 125 basis point hike more. From there, I'm not as confident that we're going to see any more. We're probably going to see it move to no more than 5 3/4. Unless we see inflation start ticking up above 4.5. When we see that effective federal funds rate pause and we have confirmation, or at least maybe not confirmation, but confidence that the effective federal funds rate has paused, then we're going to move into our third epoch. This first epoch was noted by massive inflationary activity by the United States Federal Reserve, by extremely low interest rates, and by global instability that led to interest in a proposed solution, that being Bitcoin. This winter over here was denoted by heightened interest rates, lower liquidity, and global instability that did not lead to individuals looking to invest in a risk-on asset like Bitcoin. Over here, the concern was central government at home and the currencies that we use on a day-to-day basis. Over here, the concern was nuclear Armageddon and supply chain disruption. Those two types of conflict lead to different responses, and you can see what that different response did to the market. Now we're moving into an era where things are kind of quote-unquote going back to normal. Things will never go back to the pre-pandemic normal. Normal will never come back, but what will come back is a sense of normalcy. We're never going to see the exact same kind of market that we saw originally, but there is going to be a return to some kind of, okay, things are kind of going normally. And so I really do believe that when we start to see Federal Reserve's, the Federal Reserve's interest rates plateauing, when we see the United States Central Bank balance sheet continuing to drop, but probably slowing down, because it will slow down eventually. The Fed's job is to create money. Excuse me, their job is not to create money. What I mean by that is that their job is to maintain the stability of the inflation and the unemployment. And one of the ways they do that is by printing money and putting money into the economy through treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. It will plateau eventually. When those activities start to occur, you're going to see that balancing out. And what does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, it means that Bitcoin can go back to normal, and this is Bitcoin's normal, going absolutely freaking parabolic. Going into a halving event, and then going into a rally beyond that. Those things are lining up that the next time a bull market comes around, it's not going to be a bull market unless something changes, and it can. It's not going to be a bull market driven by just wacky fundamentals like we're reading out of a Dr. Seuss book and writing policy based off of it. Instead, we're going to have the halving occur and Bitcoin's going to begin a rally because that's what it does. That is the technical trend that Bitcoin follows. And when Bitcoin goes through a halving, because of these changes in supply chain, not supply chain economics, because of the change in the supply and demand economics, that brings a perception of value to investors, and they buy Bitcoin because they believe that it's an appreciating asset that will bring them more returns than either the stock market or at least holding capital in the United States dollar in the long run. And that leads to exceptional price appreciation on the asset. I'm not sure if we're going to get back to all-time high before the halving. In fact, I would wager that we won't. But post-halving, I give it less than 6 months and we're back at $70,000. Halving is expected to be in March or April of next year. 6 months from there is October of next year. We're looking at an all-time high on Bitcoin within the next 12 to 14 months. That is my long-term perspective based on the backing explanation, based on the background of geopolitics and macroeconomic analysis. And I do believe that those are some of the most important factors driving Bitcoin right now. If not for the fact of the pandemic here, the war here, if not for the heightened inflation here, the lower inflation here, not inflation, but the quantitative easing, I should say, would be the technical term. The quantitative easing here and the quantitative tightening here. If not for the low interest rates here and the high interest rates here, all of those forces pull these two markets in the exact opposite directions. This rally would have probably looked more like this, and this correction would have probably looked more like this. Probably not even that far, to be honest with you. And then we'd be close to all-time high right about now. That's what I think would have happened. Probably, actually, let's just be as precise here as possible. I think Bitcoin probably would have gone up to something like here, pulled back down, maybe this low, to be honest with you. We probably would be about as high right now. And Bitcoin would not look like it's as far from all-time high. That's probably something like what the market would look like, and we would have been 30% rally from all-time high, not 100% rally from all-time high. So when that bearish force on Bitcoin, and I didn't even mention the SEC and FTX. Obviously, those have been two massive, just horribly bearish events that have taken place and that have brought down the sentiment in the space. If not for all of those events, Bitcoin would likely be higher right now. If not for all of the events in 2020 and 2021, Bitcoin probably wouldn't have rallied as far. So with all of those things kind of dissolving and us going back to the sense of normalcy, it gives Bitcoin the ability to thrive again and go on a rally of its own merit because of fundamentals and technicals that are taking place in the space. So that's the longer term outlook. I think the next year is going to be generally bullish for Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean we're not going to see corrections. That doesn't mean that we couldn't go back down to $20,000 first. What it does mean is that I think that if you invest in Bitcoin today, a year from now, you're going to be happy. That's what I think. So on the daily chart, let's start with some analysis. Mentioned at the beginning of the stream, MACD is bearish. It is converging bearish. It will cross bearish tomorrow. Almost certainly, unless we see a major rally on Bitcoin. There's a lot of momentum moving down there. MACD is a momentum oscillator. So when the market has quite a lot of momentum moving in one direction, then it's difficult to turn around that momentum. Similar to how you have a freight train, and it's difficult to slow that thing down because you put one of the 15,000 brakes of the thing on. It takes a while to slow that freight train down. MACD, moving average convergence divergence, is built of two moving averages, a 12 and a 26. Those moving averages obviously take into account 12 intervals of data and 26 intervals of data. That means that they move with quite a lot of momentum. This bottom line here is the 26, and this top line here is the more snappy signal line. And so it's very difficult to turn this movement around with just one candlestick unless that candlestick is extremely large. So we're almost certainly going to see a bearish MACD cross tomorrow. It's very easy to predict that. RSI's dropped below the 14 interval moving average and below 50, so that's bearish. We've also dropped below our level of support at 26,350 that I told you was a boundary. And we've also seen Bitcoin drop below the 20 exponential moving average on the daily chart and below trend catcher on daily chart. I have to be bearish here. I don't have a choice. That's what the technicals are telling me, and I can only rely on the technicals and base my analysis on statistical probabilities. Something that we also want to consider is that Dixie is rallying quickly, very quickly. It's been rallying very quickly since July, and it's about to, actually, over the last 24 hours, I didn't notice this. It has broken above its previous resistance. Dixie's about to go into a big rally. Now, I also want to look at the United States stock market. It has not been performing very well. So most everything right now that could be stacked against Bitcoin on the short term is stacked against Bitcoin on the short term. Stocks are in a nosedive. Dixie's in a moonshot. Neither of those things are bullish. Stocks drop, Bitcoin's drops. Dixie rallies, Bitcoin drops. Those are the patterns. Bitcoin's fallen below its support. We attempted to break this downtrend. Dixie and the stock market have said no to that, and the fact that we've fallen below those levels of support puts me firmly in the camp of the bears right now. Something is intriguing to me, though, and that is that Bitcoin has printed a head and shoulders pattern. Here, as you can see, one of the most obvious head and shoulders patterns you will ever see in your entire career as an analyst. That head and shoulders pattern has a price target of $25,263. Doesn't that number sound a little bit similar to 25,236, the level that we've talked about so many times, 25,236? It's a little bit of a coincidence, but it's an important thing to note. 25,236 is a critical level because, just change it into a different color so you can see it here a little bit better. We'll make it kind of a yellowy color. 25,236 here was our local resistance in August of 22. It was also our resistance in February of 23. It was also our support here in June of 2023. It's also our support now. That head and shoulders pattern predicts that we'll fall to the bottom of the trading range. It doesn't predict that we'll fall into a major correction and collapse down below 25,236, down to like 22,808. Remember, there's a CME gap down there. Could Bitcoin fall down there? Yes, it absolutely could. The interesting thing to me is that with the opportunity to fall down to that level, it hasn't done it yet. We've been trading sideways. Part of the reason for that may be that this was a bear pennant, and that bear pennant had a price target, and look, you can see that Bitcoin pretty much nailed the price target. So that's something to consider, depending on how you drew the price target. But it is interesting to me that we have not followed through the head and shoulders pattern down to 25,236 yet. We're going to watch and see if Bitcoin's going to fall down here. I am in the camp that we probably will at this point because we've lost a lot of our support. The only thing that we could really say support-wise is that there is VRVP support right here. So what you can look at this and discern is that if Bitcoin falls below the level where it is right now, its next major level is probably 25,236. And that's probably the way I would say it. If Bitcoin holds this level, then we'll probably be good. So that brings us to our first trade setup, where we can talk about how we can profit out of this market. This is obviously a big level of support as VRVP. Everybody's going to see that. A short is in order right here, obviously. If the market were to fall down below this level around 26,000, which is where we're basically sitting right now, down to, I'd say, probably 25,930, and it dropped all the way down here, I would probably put the exit a little bit more conservative right here. This is a very, very, very high likelihood of profitability trade. That's the best we can do when we're setting up a trade. The best we can do is put the odds ever in our favor. It's the best we can do. If we put the odds ever in our favor, then if we make enough trades with a high enough risk to reward ratio and strong enough technical backing that those trades are likely to actually profit, then we have the ability to make money trading. You know, something that people don't realize is that if you only get a third of your trades right, but you have a 4-to-1 at risk to reward ratio every single time, then you'll actually end up making money. There are trading calculators that can they can show that for you. Just show you something here. Risk to reward. Let me see if I can find a trade return calculator that does this. There's one I use here. Right. So 15%, 4-to-1, win loss 33%, $10,000. Here you go. Calculate. Shouldn't have the colon there. What? Nope. Oh my goodness. 4-to-1. There we go. Typical risk. That's too large. That's what it is. We're risking, let's say, 2%. You can have a pretty large return based on this. Having a 4-to-1 risk to reward, and you only win a third of the times. Let's say you have a 3-to-1 risk to reward, and you manage to win 45% of the time. Over the course of however many trades this does, I think it does 100 trades for the calculus, yeah. Over the course of 100 trades, you end up gaining 287% on a $10,000 balance. If you use leverage, you can get access to $10,000 with $100 using leverage, but you do want to be very careful with that. There's never an excuse to get liquidated, so be careful. So over here, you got the profit that it's talking about. New balance. At the end of that, 100 trades, you've got $38,000. You made $28,000 in profit. And you were only right 45% of the time, but because you set your trades up correctly, you ended up profiting. So when I show you a trade like this, there's wisdom in this trade. It's a 4.44 risk to reward. And you can even adjust that by making it a little bit tighter stop losses and whatnot. And this is a very high likelihood trade to succeed in. So what happens from there? If Bitcoin does drop down to 25,236, that's really the question on the longer term time frames that matters. If we fall down to that level, we're more than likely going to start dropping down to like 22,808. At 22,808 is our next major level of support. 22,808 is a level of support that we set. It was formed by resistance on September the 15th. And if we go to BTC1 exclamation mark, Bitcoin futures over here, you can see that there is a CME futures gap right below that as well. So we need to watch out for those two levels. If Bitcoin goes down to 22,808, it could very easily go back down to 20,000. We could do a back test of 20,000, not the last bull market, but the previous bull market's all-time high. I think that that's our floor. If Bitcoin falls down that far, I think that's our floor. And I think Bitcoin would be able to go through a major rally and start anew, start fresh from there. And maybe that's what needs to happen. Sometimes in life, you get yourself so overextended that you just have to cut some things and kind of start over a little bit. And that might be what Bitcoin is experiencing right now. I'm sure you've experienced that in your life. You just get into this area where there's just more and more and more and more. And then sometimes you just have to cut some things and say, all right, I'm going to do less, better. And maybe that's what the market needs to do. Maybe the market needs to say, I'm going to do less, but I'm going to do it better. We're going to have a correction down to 22,000, down to 20,000. And from there, as I say, we're going to do less better. Bitcoin is going to go into a rally from there, and it's going to be able to form that rally in a much more sustainable way than it had formed the previous rally. And Bitcoin will be able to build off of the previous experiences of these rallies. And in the short term, it'll be negative for many people, and some people might leave the space in the short term. But when they see Bitcoin bouncing and rallying back up to 30K, they're going to say, oh, wait a minute. There's trade opportunities here. There's investment opportunities here. And the wise among us will look at that market and say, wonderful. Bitcoin fell back down to $22,000. That is a time that if you don't have as much invested in Bitcoin as you would like, that is an opportunity for you to make that investment. It's also an opportunity for us to prepare and load our bags before Bitcoin goes through its halving next year, and we more than likely start trading in the $30,000 to $50,000 range in summer of 2024. That's my perspective. Are we going to see a drop below 25,236? I think it's too early to tell with confidence. At this point, I am more confident than not that we're going to see a drop back down to 25,236. And I am also confident that in the next 6 months, we're going to see Bitcoin pushing back through $30,000, and we'll see a rally following through from that. All right, let's go ahead and read chat. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Shout out to George again. Appreciate you for tuning in. Let's see. MicroStrategy bought more Bitcoin. When are they not buying more Bitcoin? Let's see. Jojo's in chat. Good morning and happy Monday. Good morning, my friend. Bershevsky said hi, a bit late for the start. Sorry, Bershevsky. Shout out to you, my friend. Welcome. I'm My Hero said, every time someone hits the like, Gary Gensler sheds a tear. If that's not a reason to hit the like, I don't know what is. I kind of feel bad for Gary Gensler because he's got a lot of hate. But at the end of the day, if you're going to act like that, you know, I'm not an advocate for hate at all. But don't be surprised if you get some recourse, maybe we could say. Want to be careful there. Crypto Mini Bike in chat. Eye of the Beholder's in chat. Adam Rorick is in chat. What are my thoughts for Cardano the next bull market? I think Cardano has a huge upside potential, but it's got to prove itself. I've said this before. Cardano went through a much larger crash this bull market, this bear market, this winter, than Ethereum. Even though I think in a lot of ways Cardano is the superior blockchain. Went through a 92% correction. That goes to show you the resiliency. There's a certain resiliency to altcoins, and you can't really argue against it. Ethereum bottomed out at negative 80%. Cardano bottomed out at negative 92%, and we're still down here. Ethereum is up. Ethereum is doing better right now than it did at its bottom. It's in a massive ascending wedge, ascending triangle pattern. Cardano is not. Cardano is in a descending trading channel. And so the price is unfortunate. I believe that Cardano has a lot of value to bring to the table. But right now, I think the issue that Cardano is going through is that much of that value is more of idea than it is actually being, has actually been practically implemented. I'm not saying Cardano has not been implemented. What I am saying is that Cardano has not been adopted on the scale of Ethereum. And so we're going to need to see that if we're going to see a major rally on Cardano. I do feel bad because I know a person, I will not say who, but I know an individual that bought at $3.10, like $10,000 worth of Cardano. And I think they're still holding it. It's sad business. Jojo said, hey, Jeff, still practicing guitar. I'm trying to. It's hard to find time sometimes. I did just get a capo in, so that's going to help because there's a song that I want to learn. But it requires a capo. And so I'm just sitting over here playing, and I'm like, this does not sound like the song. What's going on? Oh, I'm supposed to have a capo on the first fret. That would be why. Jojo, I could play like 3 chords. I can make it sound nice, but that's only because it's a Martin Jr. Like, it's a beautiful guitar. That's the only reason it sounds good. It's all on the guitars, none on me. I can sing, but I would love to be able to play the guitar. Let's see. Like I said, really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. If you are enjoying today's show, make sure to hit that like button. Also, and also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Suba. Who's ever seen the Subaru thing? You put the Subaru part of things on the back of Subaru. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I put an invite link here in the chat. Edit the invite link. Expires after never. Temporary members are automatically kicked from the disconnect. Let's roll it assigned. All right. Generate a new link. Copy. King De Leon, Mario, I sent you an invite link personally. Because I feel really bad about office hours. We have a lot of fun over there. But I do think that this is going to be better for our family because normally I'm trying to wrangle 2 kids at 6:30. And I also believe that it's going to be better for you guys. All right. There's the Discord server link. I'm going to put it in our chat. Not in our chat, in our description. Join the Crypto Jeb Discord. Boom. Will I vote for Mike Pence? I'll be honest, I didn't even know Mike Pence was run. Oh, well, no, I take that. I'm thinking Mitt Romney. I keep my politics to myself. Some of you guys think that you know my politics. And some of you guys have guessed correctly. Some of you guys have guessed dead wrong. So, like I said, my stance on politics, and I don't mind weighing in on politics because I'm careful about how I say it. I know the things that I will say. I know the things I won't say. The hard thing that I have with politics is that my ultimate concern is the example that a leader will set for my children and for myself, for that matter. Because, like it or not, we are going to be influenced by the most powerful person on the planet. And so if we've got somebody in the office that is not acting correctly, either in a way that they're being, slanderous or disrespectful or rude, or that they're making poor policy decisions that are not based on wisdom, or they're not caring about some of the electorate. I mean, you look at both sides. There's plenty of that. That is something that makes that that is very difficult for me. And so that's why I'm a smaller government kind of person. That's one of the reasons that cryptocurrency is so appealing to me. I am not a fan of the government trying to play God, which is what they do. When you run away from God, then you typically end up replacing him with something because there's a void there. You want to have some kind of leadership. That's part of human nature, is to have some kind of leadership. And if you throw God out of the equation, then you end up putting the government in that position. And the government makes a pretty terrible God. Ask anybody who lived in the Soviet Union. Makes a horrible God. Because people are self-serving. And so I'm all for having a smaller government. That being said, government exists. And so it is always a difficult decision for me when an election rolls around, because if I look at the 2 candidates, both of which are running to be the most powerful individual on the planet, it almost breaks my heart to have to vote for one of them, because neither of them are a perfect leader. So you end up in this situation where if you choose to vote, and I think we should, because too many people have fought and died for our right to do that, then you end up having to basically do a best of make a best of a bad decision. And so I typically lean in the direction of a politician that is going to move in the direction of giving themselves less power. Because if they are truly doing that, that shows me two things. Number one, it shows me that I'm not going to just have to lean on them, and they hopefully are going to give more power back to the family, which is the most important governmental unit ever created in the history of the world. They're probably going to give more power back to the states, which I also think is a very important thing. And they're probably also going to get out of the way, and they also probably have some humility to say, hey, look, I'm a politician too. I could end up making a mess of things. Maybe I should have less power. So I'm not a single issue voter by any means. There are certain things that will make it so that I will not vote for a certain individual. Period. No matter what. And if that means that I can't vote for either individual, then there may be times in my life. Now, of course, I've only been old enough for one presidential election. But if there come times in my life where I can't vote for either candidate, then that's an option too. What I will say is that I have to have peace with the decision that I'm making and know that my vote does matter. Again, because many people have fought and died for that right. And it does matter. And so I have to take that very seriously. And I think we all need to do that. Government has a place. I definitely think it's overstepped, though. AI Central said, saw the name of the channel, had to jump out straight away. Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were going to say jump in straight away. Well, I'm sorry, AI Central. The only people who run for these offices want all the power. And that is another issue with politics, is that an individual that wants to be in government and be that powerful oftentimes is not a very humble individual. Maybe they are, but a lot of times it's not. Vote libertarian. I definitely tend to vote more on a smaller government side of thing. Crypto Surge said, I'm only influenced by one person, Jesus Christ. That's right. That's right. Amen. I don't think it's true that we're only influenced by one person, but that's the desire, is that we'd only be influenced by one person. I think we have to realize that we will be influenced by those around us. Dr. Crypto's in chat said, hope you and family are well, Jeb. Yep, doing very well. I appreciate you for that concern. So, guys, I am going to wrap it out. I really do appreciate all of you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I will not be here live tomorrow because we are going to be taking my son to Hollywood Studios for his birthday. So, shout out to my son, Malachi. He'll be turning 3. Tomorrow's not his actual birthday, but I'm not going to say his actual birthday on stream, but his birthday is around this time, so we're going to be doing that. I am going to be putting out a piece of content at 10 a.m. tomorrow, though, so there will be some kind of content for you. It won't be a live stream, but I'm going to make a video on something and put it out for you so you guys have some piece of content, and I will see you guys again on Wednesday. I also really look forward to seeing you guys over in the Discord server. I hope that you will join us, and we can get that thing back going and have some fun in there. Obviously, there's going to be some work that needs to be done on it, but we're going to work in that direction. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.